Have you ever wondered what it's like to retire to the Saugatuck Douglas area of Michigan? Well, stay tuned and find out. Today we have our guest, Kevin Putnam, and we'll tell you a little bit about Kevin. Kevin grew up in the Detroit area with two older sisters and an amazing mother, and she was a single mother. He worked with the McDonald's restaurant chain for 27 and a half years, left in 2016, where he was the director of operations and managing partner. He started real estate in 2016 and has been enjoying it and meeting new clients and friends. He has a great partner of 22 years who is a pediatrician, and they both love children. They have two Havanese fur babies, so cute, Rex and Max. Rex is 5 years old, and Max will be 4 years old next month. Well, Kevin, welcome to the podcast. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm so excited to hear all about the Saugatuck, Douglas area of Michigan.
Thanks, Mark. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you, sir. So, Kevin, tell us. You said you were originally from the Detroit area. You want to give us a little bit background when you decided to leave Detroit and when you moved to Saugatuck. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So I grew up actually in Auburn Hills, Pontiac area, which is a little like north westish of Detroit. Then ended up moving to Warren, which is closer to Detroit. And then right before leaving here, my partner and I ended up in Macomb Township, which is about 30 miles northeast of Detroit. We met in 2001 and lived in Macomb for 13 years. But in the, about 2 years after meeting, we started coming to Saugatuck. I actually came to Saugatuck in 2001 before I met my partner and completely fell in love with the area. There's something to be said about when you're still coming out as a younger. Actually, I was in my 20s at that point, but coming to the area and just feeling accepted and open and being able to be yourself and not wonder if people are judging you or anything like that. And then shortly thereafter, we started coming together, started off, just coming to visit friends, and met more people and became friends with more people and, would start coming more often. And it was right around 2005 that we decided that we wanted a place here. It would be a home away from home and great in the summer to get away and whatnot. And so we bought our first condo in Douglas. Just to kind of explain, Saugatuck and Douglas are kind of like sister cities. So when you talk to people, they might refer to, Saugatuck, but really be talking about Douglas or vice versa. But, they're definitely sister cities. So, we had one condo a year later, kind of upgraded to a different condo. But in the meantime, just kept meeting more people and it just kept making us love the area that much more. Kind of Detroit was going home and it was kind of work central. And then we would come over here and this would just be our getaway. And, it just, we would go to benefits or nonprofit functions and whatnot. And, just, it was amazing to us how well the gay and straight world just mixed here. I was kind of shocked at the beginning because, just not used to being around it and how, it didn't matter that you were gay here. You were just, who are you? What do you do? Where are you from? And so forth. So, that just, it really kind of hit home for us. And, after having a place here after a short time, we kind of said one day we will live there. We will move there full time and live there and retire there. And so, in 2016, we both made the decision to make that change and move here full time. and we've been here ever since. Just we have met so many people from all over. I mean, Saugatuck, this area is truly like the melting pot of the Midwest. I mean, you get guys coming from Chicago and Detroit
Hmm.
and Milwaukee and Indy, Ohio. I mean, just
Everywhere.
even Canada and abroad. We just have met so many people, great people that we've kept in touch with. We traveled with. We've gone to their places in other, Palm Springs, Florida. It's just been, a great experience.
Sounds
And
amazing.
yeah, I mean, the area truly does, it brings out this feeling of warmth and togetherness and closeness. That's kind of unique, at least from what we've experienced, growing up and not
Sure.
really, experiencing gay lifestyle, gay companionship, meaning
Community.
friendship and community. Yeah. Yeah. So, um, you know,
That's wonderful.
yeah, it truly has been. And when you meet friends, you share your time with people that really make an impact in your life. Whether gay or straight. I mean,
Hmm.
we have both, which everybody probably should, right? It's,
Yep.
life, that's what makes the world go round and round. But,
Diversity. Hmm.
yeah. So, I mean, right over, here in this area, there's a lot, and we'll go through probably a lot of the events and just different, um, fun events and things like that this area has to offer. Um, it's funny. I can still remember, like, we would go to Sunday tea dances, and there would be a group of individuals that would plan for a picnic dinner on the beach for sunset. And I mean, so you all pack your picnic basket, go to the beach, you watch the sunset, you drink wine, and you just, chat and have a good
Chill.
time. So,
Yeah.
it's been unique and special,
That's
all
great.
the way around.
So when you started out and bought the condo, you were commuting like on weekends? You would
Yeah.
do weekends
Yep. We would,
and
pretty,
vacations?
yeah, pretty much from Memorial Day to Labor Day.
Hmm.
And literally, for many years, there would be something going on every weekend. I mean, there's several nonprofits in town. The Oxbow, which is the, summer campus of the, Art Institute of Chicago, and, the Saugatuck Center for the Arts. Um, there was, Four Paws Lakeshore, which is animal rescue and welfare. And, there was just always something going on, and we would go through the whole summer, and come like September, we're like, wow. I mean, the summer's gone by so fast, but it
Right.
was fun
It does go
nonetheless,
by fast.
you
And
know.
we can't really call you snowbirds because you're going from the same weather, basically.
Right. Now, as we get older, I mean, I think that will be an option for us to, escape somewhere warmer. I mean,
Hmm.
I love winter in Michigan. I mean, I think the snowfall on Christmas lights and the downtown lights here are just beautiful and stunning. New snow falling on the branches and all that kind of, it's truly beautiful. And if you like any kind of winter, like, events, snowmobiling, cross country skiing, or downhill
Sure.
skiing or whatever, I mean, you can find it in Michigan. But, yeah, it's, we'll see what happens in the future with that. But yeah, it was truly weekends, and, you know, did it, did it
And
a lot
now it
every
just,
weekend.
yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Can you tell us geographically where is Saugatuck and Douglas located within Michigan?
So, Saugat, I mean, it's in West Michigan, on Lake Michigan. We're about 30 miles southwest of Grand Rapids, which Grand Rapids is the second largest city, in Michigan. We are, we're about 2.5 to 3 hours from Chicago. So going around
Hmm.
Lake Michigan. So if you looked at a map and you looked at Chicago, and directly across a little north would be Saugatuck. So,
Okay.
right across Lake Michigan, about 2.5, 3 hours from Detroit, 4 hours from Indy. So yeah, if anybody, familiar with Holland, Michigan, we're just 10 to 12 miles south of Holland, Michigan. So, it's its own little
Yep.
world here.
So I'm assuming, does it have any beaches?
Yeah. There's actually 3 beaches around Saugatuck here. Oval Beach is the main beach. Oval Beach is known for, its beauty, the beautiful shoreline and the backdrop of rolling dunes. Um, it's won many awards. Condé Nast Travelers, top 25 beaches in the world. National Geographic Travelers, top freshwater beaches in the U.S. And
Wow.
MTV's top 5 beaches in the U.S. Now, I'm sure they all have different ratings, but no, the beaches are stunning with the sand dunes and whatnot. And then there's also Douglas Beach, which is just down from Douglas and just a smaller scale beach, but beautiful on Lake
Still
Michigan.
beautiful.
And then down a little bit south in Fenville, there's even Pier Cove Beach, and they have a little park and stuff, and it's just a nice gathering spot for people to take pictures and things like that. And Fenville's just like 7 miles from here.
I'm kind of surprised I've never been there myself. I mean,
Well,
I've been to Provincetown, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of Provincetown, similar a little bit, maybe not as, I don't know,
it's not as
not as
large, but
right.
I will, and we haven't been to P-Town either. But many people refer to it as the P-Town of the Midwest.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, maybe after this you'll have to just come visit.
Yes,
You
absolutely. Sounds great to me.
know.
Tell us about the climate. Since you're on the lake, do you get lake effect in the winter?
We do. We definitely get lake effect snow. Sometimes, depending on, weather patterns or whatnot, lake effect will skip over us. It'll just bounce right over us, and then it'll start picking up kind of, inland. But the majority of the time, we will get lake effect snow, and where we might have a foot of snow, Grand Rapids may only have 3 inches or whatnot, or cities even a little bit more east. I have to say though, I don't recall a time where we've had, any big snowfall and the roads have not been plowed. I mean, they use a combination of salt and sand, so that way it keeps the road safe. We've never been stuck, leaving or coming into town. They're just really good about being on top of that, knowing, probably knowing as well, a lot of people travel to come here.
So we're
But
recording this on February 10th. Do you have snow?
no, actually this week has been
Wow.
just it's been very unusual for February. I mean, we had 60-degree weather the last couple of days. I mean,
Wow.
it's been a beautiful week here. Sunshine, so yeah, I mean, we'll take it. I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean, I'm in Phoenix. You're in Michigan. I could see you're wearing your little furry, sweater or whatnot. I'm here in a short
yeah,
sleeve
right.
shirt. But still it's our winter too. So this morning I went out, and it was in Phoenix, it was like 48 degrees, which is really cold for us. And yesterday I went out, I think it was 38, which
Yeah.
was
Oh,
freezing.
yeah.
Um, and especially, when we have 120 in the summer, we're not used to those cold temperatures, but it's all it's all relative.
Sure. I mean, I've talked to several friends that go to Florida this year, and I guess Florida is actually
Yep.
a little bit more chilly, and they're not loving it, let's just say.
Yeah.
But hey, at least it's better, than
Yep.
even for I even think even yeah, just it's I think the whole country's just feeling a little bit abnormal weather
Yes.
patterns, but
Weather-wise.
you know,
Absolutely. Absolutely. How's the summer? Does it get hot and humid?
yeah, I mean, summer's here, we're by the water, so there is humidity. It the average temperature, in this area is usually between 70 to 80. However, when you get into like July and August, the prime summer months, that maybe 82, and of course, if that's an average, you're going to have hotter days and not, so yeah, I mean, there's days you get into the 90s and it's humid and so forth,
Hmm.
but hey, jump in the lake, it cools you down, that's
Right.
for sure, you
Oh,
know.
can you?
Oh
Can
yeah.
you?
Yeah.
It's clean enough. It doesn't have snakes and
Oh
icky
no,
things
Lake
in there.
Michigan is beautiful. Now, Lake Michigan, out of the five Great Lakes, is a pretty rough lake. I mean, so you want to follow warnings and things like that. I mean, um, there's currents and riptides and things like that. So you just want to stay within the boundaries and so forth.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, on strong, winds and so forth, you can get 15-foot swells in Lake Michigan. So, yeah, I mean, but you can definitely swim in it. It's clean. And it can be chilly at times, so you're
Sure.
waiting until July or August before, at least for my comfort. There's
Yep.
people in June and people in there in September and whatnot, but
Mm-mm.
I tend to like water a little bit warmer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like here.
yeah,
Okay. So what do you think the average temperatures would be for the summer? You think in the 80s
yeah. I
average?
mean, correct, between 70 and 80 on average. So
And the winter?
winters vary like 30 to 40 on average,
Okay.
with January and February being colder. So
Yeah.
you tend to get lower then and then higher, in other months. But, um,
Okay.
you know, climate here for rain, I mean, spring tends to be our rainy, April
Mm-hmm.
showers bring May
Bring
flowers
me
and things like
flowers.
that.
Yep.
So those are, usually the rainier months, but you do want rain throughout the summer also to keep the gardens and the lawns and
Sure.
crops and all that, watered and so forth. So, um, you know, some years you have drier weather, some years you have, it's more wet, but overall it's pretty good and, climate.
Yep. Got it. So, is living in an LGBTQ community important to you? And is there such a thing as an LGBTQ community in Saugatuck or Douglas, or is it all integrated because it doesn't really matter? Everybody's like
Yeah.
most there's a
There,
big gay
yeah,
population.
I mean, there is a good size gay population here for it being a small town. I mean, when you look at like population and so forth, Saugatuck is it's a resort town, so
Right.
second home market, things like that. So when you look at population counts and stuff, you've got people that homestead that live here, which the number looks smaller, but then you've got people that come in the summer and it probably triples or quadruples
Yeah.
at that point. Um, but a very nice and fairly large gay community. There's not like a gayborhood here. Um, Everybody's pretty spread out. There's no need for gayborhood because
Hmm.
everybody's so open and whatnot. And, um, I mean, do certain streets maybe have a majority of, gay couples there? Yeah, perhaps. But, there's not just a gayborhood.
Do you have gay
It
bars?
We do. We have one, and it's the Dunes Resort. And it's a great resort. I mean, my first time coming here, fell in love with that. Um, the bar, the resort, all the events that it had, and so forth. The Dunes Resort is actually one of the largest LGBTQIA plus resort in the country. Okay, so
Wow.
definitely one of the largest in the Midwest, or the largest in the Midwest. They have hotel rooms, cabins, Airbnbs,
Wow.
right on the property, swimming pool, with outdoor bar, cabanas you can rent. They always something going on all year long. I mean, summer tea dances, holiday parties, whether it's Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, um, you know, New Year's, Halloween,
Do
things
they
like
have like
that.
tea dance every Sunday
Yep. Tea dance. Yep. Every
in the
Sunday
summer?
in the
In the
summer.
summer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's too
Uh,
cold in the winter.
yeah. I mean, they used to do an iced tea, which was pretty fun for like New Year's and so forth. And they do drag queen bingo all year long. It just changes days depending on the season and so forth. They have euchre nights, karaoke. Um, Currently they're running, a local drag race, for content, I believe that's actually tonight, on,
Wow,
Saturday night, so they're just always doing something. They host nonprofit events all the time. Um, it's just a
that's awesome.
great resort. Yeah.
You can get, if you have their link to their website, I could put it in the show notes and hey, give them a little, heads up as
Yeah.
well as yours, of course.
Yeah. I mean, it's dunesresort.com, but no, I can send that to you as well.
Sure. So, you said that that there's one gay bar within that resort. Okay.
Well,
Um,
actually, the bar, I mean, they have a dance part, to the bar, dance floor,
mhm.
dance floor. Um, and then they have a little upstairs area where you can, pool tables. Then they have another cabaret area. And then outside is a like deck for outside tea dances. And, in the summer when it's warm, so there are multiple parts to the bar.
Oh,
Um,
sounds so nice.
yeah, it's kind of reminds me of the Parliament House, which was in Orlando
In
at one.
Orlando?
I mean, smaller scale, but really the same, kind of
Yes.
concept and feel.
Yeah.
So
Got
yeah.
it. Got it. Excellent. Um, how easy or difficult is it to meet people and make friends in the LGBTQ community? You mentioned that you have met so many nice people.
Yeah, it's just it's not difficult at all. I mean, whether you're going to events in town, um, you go to the bar, you're in restaurants. I mean, you're always seeing people. I mean, it's a small community. Everybody seems to know everybody. Um, People have guests here so often, and then you meet their guest, and then all of a sudden you start befriending, their guest. I can't not. There's just not been a time that when you don't go out, you don't see somebody, um, and you end up talking. I mean, sure, if you're having dinner, you don't just go, and start talking as people are eating or anything. But
I have.
well, I have done that too. But um, it's it, yeah, it's not difficult at all. People here are so friendly. And like I said, whether gay or straight, I mean, you will see somebody, you will talk, meet other people. Always somebody has friends
Now,
in town that's new.
is that all year round, or would you say that it's seasonal, or does it become like some places might become ghost towns in the winter if it's really cold? And like even the desert out here, Palm Springs is known to be a snowbird place too. So in the summer, people tend to leave and go back home to where they actually have homes and live. So does that happen in Saugatuck?
It does. Yeah, it absolutely does. You know, November, December, January, February, while there's always people coming back to town, to just check on it, come visit, check on their home, um, or people just coming to visit. But it is definitely different. I mean, the summer warmer months, probably around like May through October, and sometimes even into November. Now that it seems like our warmer season has moved into November.
Increased,
Um,
yeah.
it definitely winds down though. Around the holidays and then through January, February, March, but still always something going on.
Does
That might
anything close up like restaurants?
some do like some deep cleaning and things like that. Some
Hmm.
just close because that's their time to vacation because
Right.
they're working the whole time otherwise. Many stay open with limited hours or shortened hours. Shortened, Monday maybe closed on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, open on Wednesday, through Saturday and whatnot.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about the local economy. What's that like? What's the cost of like a single family home? That should be your specialty. 2 to 3 bedrooms.
Yeah.
How about give us an idea of rental prices? Kind of also go over some utilities, electric, gas, internet, and stuff like that. Taxes, how affordable or
Yeah.
what's
I mean,
the story?
since we are a second home market, I mean, real estate values are higher, tend to hold their value. They're stronger. Um, West Michigan, in the last couple of years, as some areas have kind of dipped down, West Michigan is held about 5 to 10% higher. And Saugatuck even, holding maybe a little bit even stronger than that. But like the average home price is around like $524,000.
Hmm.
Um, it's about 55% higher than the national average, but once again, resort town and things like that. Um, the so like for a 2 bedroom rental, that's right around $1,000 to rent in the area. Um,
It's
you
not
know,
bad.
there's a lot of Airbnbs and whatnot here, so you tend to find a lot more of those for rent, than long term renting. But yeah, I mean, about on average, 2 bedroom, $1,000. Um, the uh the mills, in Saugatuck for homestead is right around, like, for taxes is right around 38.4 if you homestead. So if you were to take a $500,000 home with the 38.48 mills, you're roughly looking at like a half of that for taxable value. So taxes would roughly be about $8,600 for a home,
Okay.
500,000. Uh, schools here. I mean, for anybody that has, children,
Hmm.
and whatnot. I mean, schools are highly rated, in Saugatuck. They hold a 9 out of 10 for base academic performance. Saugatuck High School is rated 68, in Michigan out of 1,166 high schools.
It's pretty
And
good.
it's, ranked, 2,271 out of the national number, and that's out of 20,600, I mean 20,469 high schools.
That's pretty
So
good.
yeah, I mean, it's a great school system. I don't For those that may not know, our sales tax here is 6%. Um,
That's pretty reasonable.
yeah, the average household income is right around 124,000 in the area. Um, if you want to live comfortably, it's recommended that it's 100,000.
Yep.
Um, so some just utility costs and whatnot. Right now, like the local electric cost, it's 19 cents per kilowatt hour. And I'm kind of saying it that way because I'm going to give a number of an average as well. But if people wanted to look at their current bill, like say, if I have the same home
Right.
in Saugatuck, this is the cost of the electric. So that's why I'm giving it in that way. But the average electric bill in Michigan, it runs about $184 a month. Um,
I would say for heat, mostly.
yeah, well, and it varies. Electric will sometimes go down in the winter, but go
Hmm.
up in the summer because of air conditioning, and then
Okay.
gas will go up in the
Gas
winter.
is heat, right?
Yep. Yes. Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. For the most part, I mean, electric furnaces and stuff are actually becoming more, efficient and things like that. So
Yeah.
you find people, doing electric furnaces, um, even, stoves, dryers. They're just a lot more efficient than what they used to
Efficient.
be,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Um, so the local average, gas cost is $11.55 per cubic, feet. So what that, in the average, gas bill then is about $106 a month in Michigan. So if somebody once again wanted to take their gas bill on the house that they have currently, they can look at the cubic feet
Compare
used
it.
and times it by $11.55.
Awesome.
Water bills estimate, $29 in Michigan. However, Saugatuck does have like a minimum base fee on our water bills where it's based on the size of the meter in the home. So, and then usage on top of that, so.
That's great. Great statistics. Yeah, to give us an idea of, cost of living.
Sure.
That would give us a good idea of what cost of living is like out there. Let's tell our audience about arts and culture.
Okay.
What's the arts and culture scene like in
So,
Saugatuck?
so Saugatuck is actually known as the art coast of West Michigan. Um, it kind of started back over 100 years ago when Oxbow moved into the area. Um, Oxbow has a summer campus here, which actually is growing each year. And as I said earlier, it's affiliated with the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. Um, you know, they between their summer programs and now growing and whatnot, and not just always summer. I mean, they're growing more programs and so forth. But they host events during the year. They have a great annual benefit. On the property. I mean, it's right out by Lake Michigan. It's pretty discreet. So when artists come here, it's kind of serene. I mean, they can be in nature, and whether they're drawing pictures of nature or the sky or water, or the shoreline, or what, they have it all, surrounding them on the campus there. So yeah, Oxbow kind of helped give Saugatuck that name. We also have a great center for the arts. Um, I can't I can't say enough about the Saugatuck Center of the Arts. I mean, from the time my partner and I started coming here and going to any productions there, we just kind of fell in love with it. You know, they have an executive director, Kristen Armstrong, who is just amazing. An artistic director, Kurt Stam, who actually was in Chicago I'm sorry, New York for a long time, and would come in for the summers to do the summer performances. And so together they're like a dynamic duo, and they really
Wow.
make the summer seasons and all year long. I mean, there's always something going on there. At that, we call it the SCA, Saugatuck Center for the Arts.
So is it
And
live theater?
it is. It has live theater, film. They bring in Second City, musicians. It's SCA is an equity theater. World-class concerts, film, education, and outreach. SCA is a community spark plug, brings people together. Their mission at the SCA is that an art center with a difference. They aim high and wide with a core mission of transforming lives by creating community, connecting people, and spreading joy.
Love that.
Their focus is entertainment, education, and engagement. I asked Kristen to actually just say a little bit about the SCA, and I just kind of
Yeah,
this
go
is
ahead.
their 22nd year, and they are now a $3.2 million art organization.
Wow.
What the Saugatuck Center of the Arts does, they're a professional theater, Broadway and Saugatuck in a 400-seat theater, concerts, both indoor in the theater and outdoor on their outdoor plaza, film, adult classes that focus on lifelong learning, exhibitions, um, featuring a variety of media, painting, sculpture, photography, fiber, metal, digital, immersive experiences, etc. They have a children's captive education. I'm sorry, creative education. It's a summer camp, as well as they go into area classrooms, and they work with kids right inside of the schools. Farmers market, May through September, and they also host like weddings and special events. Um, they also host festivals that incorporate the arts, mash up with all ages. Jump into Summer features live music. Our summer exhibition, artists on site, hands-on activities for all ages, food trucks, craft beverages. It's free admission.
Wow.
Last year they had 1,100 guests at this event. And Art Out Loud features mountain film on tour, with short documentaries from the critically acclaimed Mountain Film Festival and Telluride, if I'm saying that right. Telluride, Colorado, plus creative food,
Right.
beverages, um, and it's all ages. It kicks off the event before a night at the Saugatuck Dunes Park, which is a lantern lit hike trail. Uh, they
That
will,
sounds awesome.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they'll serve about 24,000 people, at the
Wow.
SCA between their classrooms, libraries, community festivals, and more. Um, their live theater. They used to do three. Now they've kind of do two longer running um, productions, and some of them. And I asked Chris like, what were the top 10? Kinky Boots, Jersey Boys, In the Heights, Mamma Mia, Legally Blonde, Once, Cabaret, Chicago, Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder, It Should Have Been You, or $1 Million Quartet. And actually, this year is um, Beautiful, the Carole King musical,
Carole King. Yeah, I
along
saw
with the
that.
$1 Million Quartet. Yeah, and then I mean, Evita, Little Shop of Horrors. I mean, go on and on as
I
far
was
as
going to say you're mentioning it. It's like I saw most of them,
yeah.
but yeah.
I mean, they put a little spin on it to bring it to the local area.
Hmm.
Kurt has a way to just incorporate it. So, when you're there and they do it, you just know that that's his little, spin on Saugatuck. It's just great. My partner and I have seen live theater, in New York and Toronto and Chicago and London. But I'll tell you, we'll put any production we've seen against small town Saugatuck here, and give them a run for their money. I'll tell you,
That's so
they do a
cool.
great job. Yeah.
That's
So,
so cool. Do they sell season tickets to locals
oh yeah, yep,
for the
yep,
theater?
oh yeah, yep. I mean, their goals always sell out every night,
Right.
and so forth. And many nights they do. So yeah, it's definitely something to check out. They're a staple and really admired, in the area. They just have
That's
have given a
awesome.
lot back, you know.
Hats off to them because they're the ones that are creating community
Yeah.
within Saugatuck. So that's excellent. That's
And
awesome.
they have programs where they bus in like less fortunate children that may not have a good art
That's so
in the
great.
classrooms and stuff, and
Yeah,
so they have a bus that will go pick them up and bring them in, or go visit them, and things like that. So yeah, it's great. They do a
that's
great job.
great stuff. That is. So are you a foodie? Do you like restaurants and going out? And what's the restaurant scene like in Saugatuck? Is it just seasonal also, or can you get some good seafood? Or tell us a little bit
you
about
know
that.
so I mean, we have a lot of great restaurants here. There's this area doesn't allow like chain restaurants, so
Oh,
you
I
won't
like that.
find a Ruth Chris, Morton's or anything like that.
I like that.
um it has to be
Mom and pop.
a mom and pop. Yep, exactly. I mean, there's a high-end steakhouse, Bodie's in town. Great steaks. Yep, they mix it up with different seafood at times or whatnot. Chicken brought in fresh, every morning. Um but there are just a lot. I mean, Everyday People Cafe, which is in Douglas, is just great menu, great atmosphere, great employees. From diners to more finer casual dining. I mean, you can find it here. And a lot of good chefs in the area, very creative. Um, so so yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot here to choose from. Um, right down to Ida Red's, which is a breakfast restaurant with some of the best omelets, around. So yeah, there's
A
plenty of choices
lot
here.
to choose from. I'm trying to picture, does it have a downtown area or does it have like a strip full of restaurants and stores and shops? I'm
It
trying to
does.
picture what it looks like
Yep.
and how large it is.
Yeah. I mean, so downtown Saugatuck, which is right on like the Kalamazoo Harbor. So if you look at a map, you'll see the harbor and then the river that kind of runs out to Lake Michigan. Um, there's two main streets down, Butler Street and Water Street, and so they're probably quarter mile, half mile long, each of them. And, you know, the stores and restaurants just, you know, is a main downtown where, yes, you walk down
You
once,
can
you know,
walk.
then there's a side, you know, a side street that'll cut through that has shops to get to the, you know, the other Water Street. You know, I mean, and there's, I mean, Italian, Mexican, pizza, you know, all kinds, you know, and then the shops, you know, vary from, you know, art galleries to, you know, t-shirts, hats, clothing, shoes, you know, yeah, it's all down there.
But you need a car, right? Still?
No, actually you do not need a car. I mean,
You don't?
downtown, um, you
If you
know,
live down, do people live downtown at
yeah,
all?
yep. Yep, sure do. There, you know, it's all walkable. I mean,
And you
even
can get
between,
groceries and stuff down there? And
not
pharmacy?
downtown Saugatuck. Now there's a drugstore down there, but there's a smaller grocery store in Douglas where it has all the items that you would need. You know, I mean, for those of us that live here, may not 100% shop at the grocery store. You know, might go to Holland for bigger, you know, a bigger chain, you know, a Meyer or whatnot, Sam's Club and things like that. But no, there is a Lake Vista, which is a grocery store here, is in Douglas, and you know, has everything that you would need if you were to travel here and wanted to go shopping for, you know, the weekend. Um, but you know, as far as, you know, that transportation, and I mean, you know, from where I live, I can walk to downtown in like 20 minutes. You know, it's a
That's not
nice little
bad.
walk. You know, if you wanted to go from Saugatuck to Douglas, you know, once again, probably about 20 minutes. Um, you know, so you don't need a car. You'll see some people biking, or there's a nice bike path that goes right along, you know, the main throughway highway here in town. Um, you know, so, you know, or a car. Um,
Except for the winter, you need a car.
yeah, in the winter you'd
It gets a
wanna,
little messy.
yeah. Um, you know, as far as, you know, transportation and whatnot here in town,
Yeah.
I mean, we we have what's called the interurban. It's just a shuttle service. I won't say just, because it's great. I mean, you call ahead, let them know when you want to be picked up. They'll pick you up at your house, and then there's just a certain geographical area that they will go to. So
Is
they
it
will
like a
take,
bus, a minivan
yeah, a
type
shuttle.
thing?
Yep, like a little, you know, smaller shuttle
Yeah.
bus.
Uh-huh.
Um, and it's $1. You know, if
Oh,
you're a senior citizen, it's 50 cents. So,
that's me.
you know, uh, you know, it's also funded by our taxes here, and you know, just to keep it affordable and
hmm
convenient and whatnot. But but yeah, I mean, to help save on driving. I mean, if you're going out, you're, you know, gonna have a few drinks or something. You
Yeah.
call the interurban. I mean, it runs from morning to night. It's not a super late night. You
hmm
know, maybe 10 o'clock or whatnot, but starts up in the morning. You know, but then for later at night, there's a taxi cab service in town, and
Uber.
Uber is, during the busier times, we're finding it more and more.
hmm
It's definitely one of those items that, you know, looking forward to more Ubers being here and
More
so forth.
Ubers.
But you know, it's a very targeted time frame,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. At least it does have some sort of transportation available, and it's pretty nice that you could actually walk to places,
Yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
so it's very walkable. Walkable. Okay. Let's get down to the, well, let's talk about crime and safety.
Okay.
So, how safe is it to be living in Saugatuck? Am I going to feel safe if I needed to walk my dog in the middle of the night?
We've, like I said, we've been here since 2005, and I can't remember a time that we've ever not felt safe. And we walk, you know, if we have friends here or we end up going out, we will walk. And whether it's after hours, after the bar,
hmm
in the morning, early morning, whatever it is, I mean, I have never felt unsafe. You know, crime, you know, I'm sure there's a lot more that happens that even I don't hear about, or whatever, you know, stats come into play and things like that. But I've not talked to anybody that I've ever known that has not felt safe in the area. Um, it it just, you don't hear about it that often. I'm sure any crime that might happen more when visitors and stuff are here or things like
Hmm.
that. But as far as the locals, I mean, I've never had anyone tell me, even those that have grown up in the area have ever felt unsafe or felt it was just, you know, a bad area to live in. It's just,
That makes it so attractive too. I mean, people, that's what people look for. They want to live in a safe place,
sure.
especially people in the LGBTQ community. That's an important thing. Unfortunately, there's a lot of homophobia out there, and gay people are targeted often.
Hmm.
To find a place that's just, pretty safe is awesome. It's a great find.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would never, probe or try to make anybody feel uncomfortable by doing anything or saying anything. So, um, as long as you do your normal activities and whatnot, I mean, in your
Right.
downtown, you can be I mean, there's one gay bar, but almost every restaurant and bar, I mean, I would say almost every one of them is gay friendly.
Hmm.
I've never walked in there and felt unsafe or whatnot. I mean, um, I you just you live normal and go and enjoy and for the most part, yeah, everybody welcomes you. It truly, yeah, is.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to walk into a restaurant and with my husband and feel comfortable like
Yeah,
I'm anywhere else.
yeah, no,
So
absolutely. Yeah,
that's what we
absolutely.
all that's what we all look for. So that's great. How about the homeless population? Is there any homeless? I would think kind of not because it does get a little chilly in the winter.
Yeah, I've I've never seen a homeless individual. Now, if I have and I didn't know they were, well then I didn't know they were. Um, it kind of like there was one lady for many years who like walked around with like a cart, right? And I just assumed she might have been homeless. You, and I ended up talking to a friend of mine and another real estate agent, and I'd mentioned this woman, and she's like, no, Kevin, that woman probably has more money than both you and I. She just doesn't show it. And so I mean, we kind of laugh about it. Yeah, that like wow, it was deceiving. But you know, the same friend, and she said, I said to her, gosh, there's just no homeless around, and she had said, they exist, but they don't exist right here in the city proper.
In the
So
population.
they would be on the outskirts of Fenville and other areas where they stick to themselves or maybe live in a car or something, and not a whole lot. I mean, once again, I've never talked to somebody and they're like, gosh, have you seen this? Or have you seen homeless here? Or, this, it's not something that you talk about here. I've never had anyone walk up and ask for money or ask for
Wow,
food. I've never seen anyone sitting, holding a sign, you know, um,
that's amazing.
yeah, I mean, it just, yeah, I mean, and like you said, the winters here would be a little brutal, but I mean, I
Yeah,
know in Grand Rapids and bigger cities, oh, it's out there. It definitely is out there. I mean, um, in probably even in Holland, a little more north of here, but yeah, I just myself and talking to anybody else have never seen anybody just around here.
I want to come visit.
Yeah, no,
The
it's
more we
great.
get into it, the more I'm like, oh, I should check that out.
Yeah, it's great.
So, so let's see. Let's talk about healthcare. How far are the hospitals? Let's talk about the ratio between patients and doctors. Do you have a long wait to make an appointment to see a doctor? Weeks, days? Tell us a little bit about that. Could you walk to the hospital, or how far is it from your house?
Yeah, so the closest hospital is about 12 miles in Holland. Um, it's a great hospital in Holland. You know, they've won a lot of. I mean, they're accredited a 5-star rating every year since 2016. Um, when the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services began the rating system, Holland Hospital has been a 5-star rating. Um,
Nice.
I have and I can only reference sometimes, my experience and whatnot, but anybody that I've talked to, including myself, and I've been there a handful of times, for just various reasons or whatnot. And doctors are great. The staff is friendly. It's clean. And that is generally the consensus with people that visit that hospital, whether they're there visiting or whether they're there because they had to go there. But it's truly a great hospital. Now, there is also probably about 15 to 20 minutes away, there's another hospital in Zeeland, which is, a Corewell Health, which is a large medical, organization. That's actually who my partner works with, Corewell Health, which used to be Spectrum Health. And so that's a little more, between here and Grand Rapids. And then just down in South Haven, there's another hospital there. When it comes to, doctors and whatnot, I mean, there's an internal medicine practice here in town. Not aware of there being long waits or that they're not taking new, patients. And if that was the case, I mean, Holland has a lot of, medical staff there. Here in town, I mean, there's 2 dentist offices, 2 chiropractic, and, pharmacy downtown. When it comes to specialty care and whatnot, Grand Rapids has been kind of the medical mecca in Michigan for a while. Where Detroit's automotive, right. Grand Rapids is medical, and they just have a lot of great choices to choose from.
Would you go there if you needed a specialty?
Yeah, let's say heart surgery or something. Yeah. I mean, so, I mean, they have a DeVos Children's Hospital, which is
like 2 hours away.
No, Grand Rapids is only 30 minutes, 35. Wow. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah. We're just, I mean, you jump on the highway, in West Michigan, unless there's inclement weather, construction, or an accident, you're traveling on that highway you're moving. I mean, you're getting from point A to B pretty quickly,
That's awesome.
And, that's what makes this area so great. When I go home to visit family or we, go back for the holidays to Detroit, I do not miss the traffic. I mean, it kind of spoils you a little bit, and then.
Yeah. My rule of thumb for hospitals is like, as long as it's within a 45-minute drive, that's pretty good. That's, anything above that, it may be a little too far, but 30 minutes to Grand Rapids is perfect.
And that has everything that you would need. Like I said, Holland has everything that you would need on a normal daily, basis for your general welfare and things like that. And even in town, we have, like dentists.
So you mentioned Holland, and did you mention Zeeland?
Yeah, Zeeland.
So it's like New Zealand.
No, yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. So Holland's just a little north here of us, and Zeeland's just the next city past Holland, or next city heading to Grand Rapids.
Okay.
Then you go south, and it's South Haven, and there's a hospital down there as well. So yeah, you're not terribly far from medical facilities or anything like that. And the medical care, I mean, it's funny. My partner and I, when we first started coming to town, we went to the Saugatuck on the Arts and their benefit, and ended up meeting a couple, straight couple, dancing, having a great time, and it turns out he's one of the local doctors, and his wife, it was fun. She and I would dance the night away, and we ended up buying their house. So the house we live in right now was the house that they were selling, and when we bought. But no, everybody seems happy with the medical care.
That's great. That's very important, especially as we age.
Absolutely. And I do explain that, when people are retiring and their clients in real estate, I mean, that's definitely something you need to, keep. Yeah, that's got to be on the checklist.
It's on the checklist with cost of living and everything else, and community.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely.
Yes, sir. So, okay. What do you wish that you had in Saugatuck or Douglas that you may have had elsewhere that you don't have? Is there anything?
Well, I mean, like we talked about Ubers, I
Hmm.
do hope in the season, there's enough business to support them, which I think there should be. It's just a matter of everybody getting used to using them. A lot of people are used to the cab company because, they've been around for a while. But would like to see, some more Ubers come to town. I always kind of joke, when you travel to Key West or other places, they have pedicabs, which are
Yeah.
great after
Yep.
hours. After, instead of getting behind the car and driving, you jump on a pedicab and they take you home. So I kind of joke about that sometimes. And, water taxis would be great.
Yeah.
Traveling between Saugatuck and Douglas, you do have to cross once again, the main highway throughway, and there's a bridge. And so, I mean, it could become a little dangerous
Yeah.
if people weren't careful. So a water taxi that would just go back and forth would be
That
a
would be
great.
great.
So anybody out there looking for like a small business, there's opportunity.
There you
Um,
go.
yeah, and I always joke sometimes too, over the harbor, like a walking bridge or a bike riding bridge that you could just cut that way instead of on the highway, you know.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, just little things, nothing, everything that we need is here.
Right.
Um,
But
you
it's
know,
the convenience would be great. Like
sure.
here in Phoenix, it's so big that if I pull up my Uber app, there's like 5 cars within 3 minutes. So
Yeah.
you have to choose. And now they have I forget what they call it, but there's actually a driveless car that picks you up, drives you. I can't get myself in there, but people have done it and think it's great. But this thing has cameras all over it, surrounding it, and it just drives by itself.
You know,
So,
I, I, I was in Vegas probably two, it might have been right after COVID. Um, and got on Lyft or whatnot, and it said drive, no driver, or however it advertises that, and I could not get myself to click on it. I don't know. It's the way of the future. I'm sure of it, but
yep.
yeah, I don't have that like confidence to do it yet. But so
Yeah. Okay. So, living there for this many years, are there any cons, do you think?
you know, I I I
It's a
can't
tough
think
one.
of any. No, I mean, besides the little wants or wish lists that
Right.
but cons, no. I mean, we have just met too many great people and have built relationships and friendships and all that um no,
That's what it's
I can't
about.
say that there is. I mean, um, I mean, a, a, a cold, brutal winter might be a con, I guess, to some people,
To
but
some people,
I mean, that would be my only, but you can't change that. So it doesn't
right.
matter. I mean, that's the way it is.
Right. It is
You
what it
know,
is.
so yeah, no, there's not really anything that I can say,
That's
that
great.
I
Yeah.
don't like about the area.
Community is all that's so important, especially as we get older and in the gay community, especially.
Hmm.
It really means a lot. And from my experience, anybody I met from the Midwest was nicer than from where, I grew up on the East Coast. They were just nice people, you
Yeah.
know?
It's funny. We used to say that for even East Michigan, Detroit. Detroit has seen some really hard times. It's
Yep.
created some really rough, aggressive people. And when we first started coming over here, we would kind of joke with each other like Lansing, which is the capital, is a midway point. It's a different feel. It truly was a different feel coming over here. And when you interact with East Michigan versus West Michigan, and that in itself was a whole nother reason that was a big draw for us to this area is, just the people in general,
Right.
so I can see what you mean by that, as far as, you always hear people talk about New York or things like that. And
Right. And people in the Midwest are really nice
oh,
compared to East Coasters,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
maybe even West Coasters.
yeah.
So now I'm on the West Coast. So,
Right.
all right. So Kevin, in wrapping up, what would you say to our audience if they're thinking of making a move to Saugatuck and Douglas?
So I'd say come visit, come for a week, come for a long weekend, maybe even come a few times just to get a general feel, different times of the year. See for yourself. It's truly an awesome area, awesome people that reside here, that vacation here, that whether they're snowbirds, whatnot, um, things happening all year. It's just enjoyable. I would encourage anybody to just check us out because I I think they'd be confident and happy with their choice to visit here. And um, plenty of people have made that decision to move here. Um, and it just keeps growing, which is good. Uh, I also just I'd asked some friends on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of said, LGBTQ, anybody that wanted to just share their thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
that's excellent.
I, just to give you, a little bit, from one, gay friend, the outdoor activity options, amazing beaches, incredible welcoming area, abundance of great culinary options, other friends that have also relocated here, minimal to no traffic, affordability. Then another gay friend actually said, retired here because we had vacationed here and always had a great time in the area. There are so many great restaurants, breweries, wineries in the area. Always something to do. Great local art scene and culture, amazing beaches, an opportunity to live in a rural area with available cities very close with no traffic. We know we made the right choice when we never have a shortage of friends that want to come and stay with us.
I love that.
um, and then another gay gentleman said, we love it there. And now we are residents with a place in Detroit as well. The Saugatuck Douglas area is beautiful and welcoming and very friendly. I always say that everyone there knows one another and the community gives back to so many. It is the P-town of the Midwest and the friendliest place you can find for being who you are.
Wow.
Another one, at the time we were ready to retire, we had friends already living in Saugatuck in Douglas, and we loved visiting them. Now that we've been there more than 8 years, I cannot possibly imagine living anywhere else. Also stopped driving because, of a medical reason. And it's so convenient to have the interurban pick me up and take me to the market or take me anywhere I want to go. It's a really big plus that we have so many retired gay friends and straight friends that we socialize with. There's such a large percent of people our age that are open-minded and loving and involved in helping animals and feeding people. There are a lot of nonprofits around here. Yeah, I was on a couple boards, whether it's animal rescue and welfare, helping feed less fortunate, children in the area. West Shore Wear just is a nonprofit that helps raise money for other nonprofits, whether it's,
Mm-hmm.
battered women, and things like that, and scholarships for, children in school and in college. Another gentleman, very prominent in town and whatnot, and it said the Art Institute of Chicago has had its summer camp in Saugatuck for over 100 years. Consequently, enlightened, creative, interesting, and interested people have influenced the community for generations. The artistic-based community has welcomed gay and lesbian folks openly from the 60s on. In 1981, the Douglas Dunes was opened. Even today, the Dunes Resort has continued to expand and grow and is now the oldest and largest LGBTQ resort in the Midwest. They continue the mission of Oxbow by welcoming both gay community and all their fellow neighbors. Saugatuck Center of the Arts, that was started in 2001 by a group that knew Saugatuck needed an art center and would serve the community creatively and philanthropically. Along came Kristen Armstrong in 2005, and she has led the way to leading the SCA to become a regional arts center in Southwest Michigan. 22 years later, it's the heartbeat of the community. I don't know how much time is too much time. But yeah, I mean, the comments are just,
That's great. I mean, thank you so much for doing that. I mean, that's really special, to get everyone's opinion and their thoughts on the town and Saugatuck and Douglas. It means a lot, and it's going to tell our audience people are going to want to visit.
yeah,
Absolutely visit and check out to see what it's all about, including myself.
yeah, well, good. We welcome, new visitors and I mean, I think it's great to hear people are retiring here. Just a couple guys from Milwaukee just got a place, not too long ago and, retired from Milwaukee to come here. So yeah, it's definitely a great community.
Now, Kevin, do you advertise your real estate business at all?
I do. Yeah.
Where could people find you? Like on the web or
Yeah.
email?
Yeah. Web. Website is, coastallivingadvisors.com, www.coastallivingadvisors.com. It's my Kevin Putnam, Kevin and Sarah, Coastal Living Advisors. So my business partner and teammate, Sarah. Our email is Kevin and Sarah. So Kevin and the word and Sarah at coastallivingadvisors.com. I can be reached. My phone number's on any of those platforms. Facebook, once again, Coastal Living Advisors, or Kevin Putnam. You'll find me. Instagram, LinkedIn.
I'm going to
So
put you in the show notes with your contact information as well. So this
okay,
way, everybody in the podcast that listens to the podcast can see, and just click on a link.
yeah, no, thank you.
So
Yeah,
hopefully that'll be helpful.
be nice to help bring anybody, and even just phone calls to talk to them about
Yep.
the area if they're visiting or whatnot. But yeah, I welcome anybody to give me a call and talk to me about the area. I'd be happy to help. I mean, the area has so much even that we didn't even talk about, from fireworks 3 times a year to Venetian festivals and art festivals and parades, 4th of July, wineries, um,
Wow.
breweries, distilleries, hard cider, touring, tasting. I mean, all of it is just apple orchard, peach orchards, where you pick and stuff like that. So yeah, there's just a lot more that we, just to experience.
I mean, I think a lot of people have heard of Saugatuck, but not the not the major population. I think it's a little well kept secret, actually.
Yeah, it's I've been on cruises where people would have heard of it, but hadn't been here to visit.
Right.
Or you'll run into people that you would think maybe it would have never visited, and they have or whatnot. So yeah, it's truly a gym, in West Michigan that is growing, and some of the older people that have been around may not like the growing as much, but the vast majority are definitely, it just, you meet new people, and friendships to me are so important, and it's what
That's
I
what
look
it's all
for,
about.
yeah, and they become family, they're your extended family, and so yeah, sharing time is very
Excellent.
important, so.
Excellent. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for being a part of the podcast and joining us today. I learned a lot about Saugatuck and Douglas. It was a place that I've never been to and knew little about, and now I really want to get there and check
All
it
right,
out for myself.
yeah,
So
and make sure you let me know so that way I can
I
show you around.
absolutely will.
All right.
I absolutely will. So thank you again, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. You too.